Welcome back to a professional match of StarCraft 2. Today it's time for a Protoss versus Terran, where we find ourselves on Blackburn. Spawning right here in the bottom left-hand corner of the map, playing with the red Protoss probes from France, we have none other than DnS. And his opponent in the bottom right, playing with the, I guess, the light green Terran SCVs over here. They look a little bit different than what we normally see when players decide to play green. Anyways, from Poland, we are looking at Spirit's main command center. This particular game was recently played during the Casters Civil War, which is a tournament that just wrapped up a couple of days ago. Wardy released the replay pack, and I decided to ask Twitch chat if there's any games that I should go ahead and check out from the tournament, because while I did see a couple of the games live, I honestly didn't see the vast majority of them. I think I watched like 2 games or so. Anyways, interestingly enough, I fully expected, right, for people to recommend like Serral, Raynor, Clem, MaxPax, right? Like the usual suspects, the players that I cast very regularly just because they create some amazing games of StarCraft. But interestingly enough, DnS versus Spirit on Blackburn was by far the most recommended game. So, I don't know what to expect. I haven't been spoiled for this match. I have no idea what ends up going down. I was kind of expecting maybe some early game craziness, but so far it seems that even though I think the probe scout here was quite early, DnS is building all of his stuff on the other side of the map. Yeah, right at home. Going for the Nexus right over here on the low ground. I'm expecting a Cybercore here in the back. Yeah, creating like a half wall right over here. So if the Scouting Reaper wants to come in, it's gonna have to go to it's gonna have to go the long way around the main. Anyway, so far everything's very normal. I'm pretty sure I got the right replay though, so I mean, if not, this video is never gonna make it to YouTube. So anyways, then I'm just talking to myself. Actually, I am talking to myself in a room. Huh. I wonder what my neighbors think. All they hear is me shouting in my room by myself all day long. No, they actually know what I do for a living. Interestingly enough, I think one of the neighborhood kids find out some time ago, and every single time I go outside right now, they stare at me from a distance. It's a little bit creepy. But yeah, some of them have figured out that I'm apparently a YouTuber, which is apparently the coolest job you can have in 2022. Apparently, if you ask kids these days what they want to be when they grow up, they don't want to be a fireman, they don't want to be an astronaut, they want to be a YouTuber. I know. Or maybe it's changed again, I don't know. Maybe they want to be a TikToker or something. Is that a thing? Is that a job, being a TikToker? I guess so, if you have a lot of followers. Anyways. Oh, right, because I'm talking by myself in my room. I was wondering why I was even talking about that in the first place. Anyways, very conventional game so far. So, yeah, we'll find out together exactly why this game was recommended, I guess, in one of the later stages of this match. Reaper goes in. It's already scouted that it's a Stargate opener. Nice grenade right there by Spirit, showing us that he's perfectly capable of microing those early game units perfectly. Keeps it alive. Now decides to go for a Phoenix right here, actually. Mr. DnS, that is. He showed an Oracle for a second. Alright. Decided to cancel the Oracle and now go for a Phoenix instead. As we'll be making this video, DnS is considered he's considered to be the rank 49 in the world overall. Spirit currently the rank 36. So both of these guys are very good, of course, at the game. Maybe not quite at the level of, like, you know, the players that I more regularly cover here in pro games, but they're definitely way better than 99.9% of my viewers, and myself included too, for what it's worth. Maybe I can cheese one of them, but I don't think it's going to work out very well. Anyways, good control right here, actually, by DnS. 2 Reapers end up going down, or sorry, 2 probes right there end up going down at the cost of a Reaper as well as that Hellion, so really not quite ideal here whatsoever, and I wouldn't be surprised if indeed we're going to go straight towards the third. Phoenix did decide to make a bit of a flyby right here inside of the main base of Spirit, just to make sure that everything is a-okay to indeed go for that third. 400 minerals are needed. There we go. He scouted that there's already a third command center about a third of the way done. I guess by the time he got in there, a little bit less than that, but he scouted that everything is a-okay and that Terran's likely not gonna get aggressive here anytime soon. It's gonna be double Cyclone here as well, so while Spirit can certainly roam the map if he wants to, when there's Phoenixes out, you can't really get too much done. Phoenixes are one of those awesome units that can, yeah, really nicely keep the opponent back. Maybe a Zergling run, but I mean, unless you give them up. He lifted the Cyclone right there to get rid of the lock-on, but anyways, there's still a Viking up in the air. A little bit of sloppiness. I was going to say maybe in Protoss versus Zerg, if you have a lot of Phoenixes out, it's not that useful because Zergling run-bys are still going to happen, but Terran doesn't really have that option, so I think for the time being, Mr. Spirit here is going to be more than happy to just sit back, relax, and macro up. Terran players, of course, they love going for their stim pack, their combat shields, their +1 infantry weapons. Apparently even +1/+1 over here, so Spirit going to go for the double upgrades here. I don't really think he's going to move out here anytime soon, other than maybe like, if he feels really adventurous, maybe like a medevac or something, but unlikely, right? When you know that there's already Phoenixes out on the map as well. The follow-up right here from DnS, well, I think it was going to be Colossi initially, but he decides to now go for an Immortal instead. Maybe it's also because he's seen a bunch of Cyclones, and obviously if there's one thing that those Cyclones are really weak against, it's Immortals. So it kind of makes sense, and now Colossus is a follow-up. The Colossus here is mostly to get rid of any of those Marine pushes. So even though early on you won't really have the extended thermal lance, just having the unit, right, that's supposedly the size of a skyscraper is very, very nice. I've actually been playing through the Real Scale campaign over at the live stream. So that's the Wings of Liberty campaign, where all of the units, I think there's a Heart of the Swarm edition and maybe a Legacy of the Void edition in the making right now. Anyways, where all of the units are the same size and they have the same stats according to the lore of those units. And there have been some instances where the Colossus do indeed join the fray as well, and they are quite literally the size of a skyscraper, okay? In this game, in a multiplayer version of StarCraft, they're a little bit more reasonable. Especially Protoss flying ships. Like, I've had a game, I've had a couple of missions where Void Rays are on the battlefield as well, and Void Rays, I mean, I need to zoom out incredibly far. The carriers are even bigger than that, and then the mothership literally takes up the entire map. I will post that playthrough at some point. I don't know if it's going to be right here on this YouTube channel or if I'll be posting it to More Loco. It'll probably go up on More Loco, is what I'm thinking right now. Maybe like an edited down version on this channel, just because of the fact that it's a long one. And posting like, you know, a 20-hour playthrough, maybe not necessarily ideal. Anyways, every time now I see one of those flyers and one of those big Protoss units, that's what I think of. Apparently, their size in the lore of StarCraft is a little bit more significant than just like, I don't know, 10 Marines stacked on top of each other. Anyways, very normal game so far. 1-1 is finishing up. Combat shields, Stimpack are done as well. So this would be the time for DnS to, I guess, be attacked. Spirit could go for a move out right now, but he's trying to gun down the Phoenixes with a siege tank. Gotta try real hard. Not gonna happen. Yeah. So maybe a little bit of harassment, but Spirit, of course, is one of those guys who's more than happy to play the macro game, right? Like, he is one of the few Terran players who are really comfortable just sitting back, absorbing every blow, and then eventually overwhelming the opponent. It's kind of like I'm describing a Zerg. That's usually how the Zerg players approach matchups, but yeah, Spirit is definitely one of those guys who's very happy to just macro up and slowly but surely obtain the victory. DnS, likewise. Definitely not a very cheesy guy. Okay, maybe he's going to be able to get some Cyclones over here. This is the most action we've had in this match here so far. Is he brave enough to continuously move? I mean, I don't see an Observer with this army. Okay, there's an Observer a little bit further forward, but there's also no Phoenix... Or, sorry, no War Prism available. War Prism, of course, would be quite nice to have. Little bit of harassment over here with one medevac full of units is going to trigger the entire Protoss army to turn back around. I've got a feeling it's a one-way trip right here for those Marines and Marauder. Actually, the Marauder's already gone. 6 Marines in the plane. Get zapped at by a glowy boy. As well as the Phoenixes, and that's all she wrote. Yeah, so very passive game so far. Blackburn, of course, has a lot of bases. And if you see your opponent going for the gold base, you can try and go for an all-in yourself, or you can take the gold base, you know, on your end of the map. And usually things will work out a little bit better if you do indeed macro behind, so... Not really a whole lot of aggression. Look, by the way, at the way that he's laid out his supply depots here at the front. Spirit is creating, like, complete choke points here for Zealots to charge through. Zealots are gonna get absolutely torn apart here by those siege tanks. Yeah, there's no way you can push in there. Maybe a drop in the main base would be more reasonable. Okay. Indeed, 4 Zealots now going into the Prism. Maybe they'll make a beeline to the main base here soon enough, but there is a sensor tower here for Spirit, so he sees that everything is laid out quite confidently, and He can easily move some units in this direction if he notices a blip on the radar heading on over in this direction. Okay, couple of ghosts here. Try to go for the EMPs. I mean, they did get an EMP, but one of the ghosts ends up going down as well, so maybe not quite ideal. Phoenixes are now going to escort that prism to go into the main base. And I don't think this warp in is going to achieve much. Nope. I'm pretty sure I got the right replay, guys. I'm fairly certain I've got the right replay. Yeah. Alright, nah. DnS is trying to get some sort of damage in. But really, yeah, taking just the base in the top left and just macroing up seems to be the more logical choice. Already additional command centers added on here as well for Spirit, who's been mining, of course, from the golden minerals here for a little while as well. I mean, he is as turtled up as can be. This is a development over the last little while for Terran, right? Where they go for this very defensive approach, where they really just do not allow the opponent to get in whatsoever. I wouldn't even be surprised to see like a bunch of missile turrets right here on the outer perimeter in the main base. Finally now, though, we do have some medevac drops heading across the map. Spirit apparently happy with the amount of stuff that he's got. Decides to go into the main base. Additional gateways are coming up. 2 more Stargates. We have a fleet beacon and everything too. But this is where Spirit is going to start putting in some actual work. Alright, he also distracted the Terran army up north, it seems. Or the Protoss army, rather, up north with a small group of Terran units. So even though those units didn't really achieve a whole lot, the Nexus in the main base does end up going down. But again, I do think that this is a one-way trip right here for those Marines, Marauders, and Medevacs too. And apparently a couple of Ghosts in there. There's really no way that they're going to be able to make their way all the way back home. Yeah. Same time, we do have one Stalker here trying to be a hero. 2 Stalkers, it seems. Yeah, the Phoenix is trying to make the best of it. Alright, maybe they are going to be able to go back home. Yeah, I think so. Interesting. Okay. They did manage to make it all the way back because a couple of the Phoenixes were indeed sacrificed. Anyways, the next step in the master plan of Protoss is indeed going to be carriers. Alright. Carriers take a while to produce. Fleet Beacon at this point is spotted as well by Spirit, so he knows what he's going up against, and he immediately decides to plot down a couple of his own starports. He also goes for an armory here. Another armory, that is. I was going to say, he must already have an armory. Yeah, he's going to go for the +2 upgrade over here for the siege tanks. And then I guess we're going to go for some armor upgrades here very soon as well. In the second armory, so maybe he's setting up himself for a bit of a... maybe a Sky Terran transition. I say that, he's starting up +3 as well for the bio units. And, I mean, he is still going for Medivacs and Ghosts. Okay, anyways. Drop in the main base is going to continuously be annoying. Carriers, though. Target firing down the Medivacs. So this time around, those units definitely will not be able to go home. But at the same time, DnS going for a little bit of aggression. Okay. Starports here are adding reactors into the mix. Another command center as well. Okay, good set of EMPs right over there, though, by Spirit. Vikings get sniped out of the sky as well. Yeah, no. You tried. You tried, little disruptor. You wanted to see maybe if units would come stimming down the ramp right over there on the high ground, but not quite gonna happen. Fusion Core added on here for Spirit too. Okay, so maybe that's why people recommended this game to me. So far, it's been not the most exciting match yet, but we are getting to a point where Protoss right now is going for a mass Skytals army, and Terran seems to be setting himself up for a Sky Terran transition. Look at the siege tank count, by the way. We're at 9 siege tanks, and they're gonna soon have +2 vehicle weapons. It makes them hit like absolute trucks. That's all you really need to know. Obviously, you can break through it. Like a couple of really good disruptor hits can change the tide of battle very quickly. But the problem is, of course, that those siege tanks have a ton of range, right? Especially when they're sieged up. So technically speaking, these disruptors shouldn't be able to get much work done. Alright. Sacrificing them for free also seems a little silly. Research coming up right here inside of the Fusion Core. That's the Advanced Ballistics. It's the ranged upgrade for Liberators. Stalker in the back trying to be annoying. Marines in the main base trying to be annoying as well. One Dark Templar. Body blocked right there by a couple of Stalkers, but he is gonna help out here. There's also some attacking here at the front. A little bit of poking by DnS. Trying to get some work in, but Okay, I think this is gonna be the real transition, though. Oh my god, dude. How many command centers? Look at this, man. That's the structures tab. We have already a whole load of CCs. I'm not even gonna try and do the math. There's more on the production tab, too. There's more stuff coming up. Basically, what I'm saying is that Spirit is building command centers for the next game. I'm assuming he realizes that you can't make command centers in advance like that. Maybe he's making command centers for StarCraft 3. Who knows? Anyways, obviously with that... Oh, he's already almost got enough Vikings right here to one-shot a carrier. He's got 17. I didn't realize that was 17. That looked like 10. Alright, he's already at 17 here. And he's still, yeah, pumping out 3 of them at once. The second armory apparently was meant for flyer attacks. Okay. We have the cloaking upgrade here for the ghost coming up. Anyways, at this point in the game, Spirit can basically just, yeah, scan his opponent left, right, and center continuously. Couple of Terran units here will go down, but don't think of it as Terran units. What? Is this a peace offering? What are we doing right now with this command center? What? He's not taking it, man. Yeah, even DnS is like, I guess I'll roll one of my bowling balls in that direction. Yeah, peace treaty is not accepted, it seems. We'll fight to the death instead. Anyways, additional starports once more. Another Ghost Academy too. That's the second Ghost Academy. Alright. 2 Ghost Academies. We can work with that. Okay, even a tactical nuke right now is researching in the one right over here. Okay, okay, okay. There's the Yamato gun research as well for Spirit. So Spirit is going for a transition after turtling heavily on Marine Siege Tank. He's now going for a transition towards what seems to be Ghost Vikings and then eventually Battlecruisers. This has been 16 minutes in the making here for Spirit, right? He's been sitting back, not really doing a whole lot. I mean, obviously he's flown a couple of medevacs around the map, but he's been slowly, methodically making a move for exactly what he's doing right now. He doesn't seem to care too much about what the Protoss player is doing. A little bit of harassment here and there, sure, but he's not really too concerned about whatever Protoss is up to, because he's trying to play his own game. Tactical nuke, numero uno. I wonder if you could have actually let them finish and snipe the ghost. I understand the cancel though, because it does make a little bit of sense. At the same time, there was a little bit of a skirmish right over there in the center of the map, but looks like maybe just a couple of stalkers versus a few Vikings. Tempests are coming up right now as well, because DnS realizes, wait a second, if my opponent is making about a gajillion Vikings, I need something that can outrange them in air-to-air. So that's what he decides to go for. And more command centers. Okay, we gotta stop, man. Terran players have no idea when to stop with the command center craze. Like, Mr. Maru started this like a couple of months ago. Look at this. How many do you have, dude? Like, you wanna get them so you can scan and you can make sure you know exactly where your opponent is at, and you can mine out bases with mules and whatnot instead, right? Like, it's nice, but if you make too many of them, they're not free. There's still 550 minerals in total, I suppose. Anyways, here we go, though. Big EMPs, but also some really nice purification Novas. DnS is trying to just bulldoze his way through that army, but I guess Spirit here has now shown his transition to Battlecruisers, shooting a couple of their Yamato cannons. Those skyscrapers from earlier are going to be picked off as well. A couple of Marines, for some reason, didn't get stepped on right there by the Colossus. But that's a lot of Vikings. We're now talking 22 Vikings. And a slow transition towards Terran mech. 4 Battlecruisers on the production tab. Okay, Spirit. Someone put something in Spirit's morning cereal, man. I don't know what kind of cereal they have over in Poland, but... it's dealing some damage. That's for sure. The ghost over here, that is. Maybe the cereal too, I don't know. Not a whole lot. Mostly just intimidation. Okay. So, Battlecruisers are amazing. Don't get me wrong. Like, ultimately, as a Terran player, if you can max out on, like, Battlecruisers with Vikings and a bunch of Ravens and stuff in a mix of it and some ghosts on the ground, right? An amazing unit composition and ideally what you're wishing for, right? The problem is that Battlecruisers are super expensive and they take a very long time to produce. But I guess that DnS in this game has been trying to be aggressive, but he hasn't been able to really slow down the Terran players, you know, sufficiently enough. And now Spirit has gotten to the ultimate Terran Death Bowl. This is where you can go for those flybys right here with the BCs. They obviously have two skills, right? First up, they have the weapon refit, the Yamato cannon, that allows them to, well, fire at units, and there's that second ability. The recall, or the tactical jump. It's basically a recall. Oh, careful. That one Archon dealing a lot of damage, actually, to those Vikings. You see how all of those Vikings right here are in orange health? I think that was mostly due to that Archon. A couple of Stalkers, though, trying to get some credit as well. DnS going Mass Tempest. DnS needs something to see these units, though. I would love to see him add on an Oracle. Because the problem is getting an Observer here in the mix is practically impossible because Spirit is just scanning for days. In order to get the Tempest to shoot at their maximum range, you need to have vision, right? They can shoot significantly further away than they can see. Another nuke coming up at the top section of the map. They can shoot away significantly further than they can see. So having something that provides vision is huge. So we have a lot of... Really? So every nuke is 200 minerals, or 200 resources. So it's 100 minerals, 100 gas. A Nexus is 400. So I'm not exactly sure if that was a cost-efficient trade to try and nuke that like 4 times. Anyways. Nexus will probably still end up going down at some point. Mule being dropped right now as well, just to repair it back up. Where are we at, dude? How many do we have? 7 orbital commands. Not bad whatsoever. Could certainly work with that. Am I blind or am I just not seeing the planetaries? Stop looking at it, Lowko. Huh? Okay, I'm just not gonna look at it anymore. I'm probably just not seeing it for some reason. Hold up. Reactor, right? We have some gas. Reactor, tech lab, starport. Orbital, we have the fusion, right? Ghost Academy, the sensor towers. I guess he's got so many structures that the UI doesn't show it anymore? He's got so many things. Missile turrets are showing up over here. Interesting. Anyhow. Looks like eventually, by the way, the base up north did end up going down. Battlecruisers right now actually decide to jump right behind all of the Tempest. Yamato cannons are queued up behind it. Instant recall right there from DnS. Okay, hold up. I want to go back. Because that was beautiful. We had that group of Battlecruisers going up north, dealing a bunch of damage. I want to see that fight again in slow motion. I'm going to slow down the game a little bit. Okay, this is the game. At a slower pace. Battlecruisers, after taking care of that Nexus all the way up north, decide to jump behind this army. Yamato cannons are instantly queued up. DnS could have certainly decided to go for a recall faster than that as soon as he saw the little blip right there of those Battlecruisers, but he decided to not do so. And because of that, a ton of those Protoss units just get sniped. Still though, I mean, he's got to be careful. There's some shield batteries over here bringing the guys back up to full HP, but you know, their shields are you know, nice and loaded again, but their actual base health is not doing nearly as hot. Now there's an Oracle in the mix, but it gets killed right away. I think DnS may be fat fingering his hotkeys right there a little bit. He does still have the Revelation though. Look at that Revelation. That's allowing those Tempests to shoot away much further than they can actually normally do so. That's super important. Dude, you need to stop making command centers. Can you please not? What in the world, man? We've got so many command centers. Like, despite the fact that Spirit has been mining as much as he has, he's only got 2, you know, he's got like resources here for like 3 Battlecruisers in the bank. It's not that much. Could have had way more stuff here. It makes me a bit nervous though, whenever I see Terran players just sprinkling in their infrastructure like that. You can't build on credit, dude. I know you've got a great track record, but in StarCraft 2, there's no credit system. An invisible unit is blocking it from landing. One of the things that science can't explain. Anyways. A Nexus gets built right underneath the command center. Where are we at right now, though? Okay, there's the Mama ship added into the mix, too. I like how it's not really about ground units anymore. Like, Disruptors are nice, Ghosts are nice. Maybe some Storms would be nice, too. I think some Archons, maybe, for underneath the Vikings would be really good, too. But it's now mostly about flying units, which is not something that we normally see in the Terran versus Protoss matchup. DnS has managed to max out once again. Now he's truly run out of juice, though. He doesn't really have a whole lot of gas anymore, and while he is trying to start up a new base all the way up north, looks like Spirit has been successfully denying that one just fine. And Spirit is getting his own base up and running right here at the 6 o'clock position. Getting some gas income over there, still building up a bit of a bank. Making some new nukes here as well. Battlecruiser, already at 12 kills. Trying to get whatever work done. I actually like to have a Ghost over here, man. Having a Ghost in this spot would be quite sweet, so you can land the nuke over in that direction. Alright, anyways. Getting a nuke to, oh my god, there's a huge... No, get out of there. Get out of there, Mr. Protoss. Okay. Getting a nuke over there to zone away against that Protoss army is obviously not a bad idea. Another tactical nuke flying straight across the map, but this time around the Ghost does get sniped. Mama ship in the back, don't forget about it, DnS. Okay, these siege tanks are super dead. Only one of them, apparently. I'm liking the late game movement here from Spirit a hell of a lot better. Maybe he's gotten a little carried away with the amount of command centers that he's got. Yeah, this CC is also not showing up, is it? Like the one without any additions on it. Maybe it is. I don't know. Maybe I'm just blind. Sometimes I miss things that are in the middle of my screen. It's happened many times during StarCraft cast before, and since I'm solo casting, I'm always a little bit concerned about it. Anyhow. Spirit has now managed to take the top section of the map, but also the bottom section. Alright, couple of Stalkers trying to be annoying here together with the Zealots. I don't think that's going to be enough. Looks like the tactical nuke once again got cancelled. Nope, couple of mules over here landed. I think they were meant to repair that Battlecruiser, but they're actually a bit lazy. A Battlecruiser decided to teleport on over here as well, or I guess fly on over here, because teleportation is available for it. Like, DnS is doing a great job working on the details over here, but as far as, like, the broad strokes of this game goes, Spirit seems to have his number. Okay, here we go, the Battlecruisers once again. Ghost Oak trying to also get some work done. This is where the Yamato cannons are being utilized once again on top of all of those Protoss air weapons. They deal so much damage. What in the world is even going on here? The Tempest trying their very best. A recall being used as well to bring the units, I think, that were harassing the base up north back. Vikings grouped up together. There's no Archons here in the mix whatsoever, but I do think that that was an overextension right there from Spirit, who ends up losing the vast majority of his very expensive units. Keep in mind that the things that are showing up right here on the supply count, or sorry, in the production tab, they count towards the supply count already, and those Battlecruisers take a while. They're not going to be out anytime soon yet, and they're already counted. They're already counted for. That was certainly an overextension. I was thinking with a couple of Archons underneath, those clumped up Vikings would get absolutely destroyed. And while I had been liking the movement right there from Spirit for the better part of the late game, suddenly right now, DnS is all over him. That being said, he's gone back once again to good old bio Terran units. They're still obviously at +3/+3. They're very powerful. Liberation. Okay. Almost at hand right over there. Siege tank, though, still shelling away at whatever it can. Oh my god, that siege tank is destroying all of the ground units. Overextension right now from DnS. Yeah, he does end up losing the vast majority of his big heavy hitters as well. Okay. Wow, that's awkward. That is very strange. There's a Nexus building right underneath or right behind the line of static defense right here from Spirit. I don't think that one's gonna live, man. Nah, I don't think so. Both players, though, very broke at this point. I guess at that point you should favor the guy who's got about a gajillion orbital commands. Despite the fact that he's long-distance mining and he should really fly one of those orbitals in that direction, he still certainly is getting a bit more income here than his opponent. Base in the top left is going to be... Yeah, this is all going to be completely mined out. It's a battle for the final resources at this point. The Spirit is mining, albeit in a very awkward way, whereas DnS is not. He's been scanning so much, he doesn't even have energy. I was thinking a row of mules over here just to get some income. Alright. Finally, DnS decides to move on over in the top section of the map. Obviously, as soon as he moves over there, though, Terran's gonna try and take the base over here down south. At least he should. Anyways, Planetary does end up going down. He should have done this like 3 minutes ago. Recall right now being used as well to try and save the base down south. The last mining location right here for the Protoss player. Additional Battlecruisers, though, have eventually popped out of those starports. Okay, they're shooting their Yamato cannons wherever they can. A couple of them that were caught in a very vulnerable spot there. Gotta try and get to the back of the Terran army instead. Okay. Little bit of damage. Right here by the Tempest. Eventually, the orbital command at the 6 o'clock position does land. Protoss is long distance mining the base all the way at the 12. He's the only one getting some income right now, it seems. Spirit, okay, still getting... He's getting some income. Oh, I think it's this base right over here. Yeah, he didn't actually take this base until much later. That's actually something I haven't really pointed out yet. But this base over here, since he didn't take it until very late, I guess it still had a lot of juice in it. There's also some mining here still happening for DnS, but not as much as seems as for Spirit. Okay. Alright, I see now why people recommended this game to me. Alright. Well, the first half of this game was not necessarily the most exciting. The second half has been a very uncommon situation of TVP. We don't normally see the ultra late game. Still 7 Battlecruisers, man. They need to be repaired, yeah. These SCVs moving away from their post seems like a good call. Try and heal these bad boys back up to full. Small group of Terran units here being a nuisance. Dark Templar and a Zealot are apparently tasked with clearing out those Terran units and try to keep the Protoss probes alive. Nexus here is eventually gonna finish. Terran, though, is gonna mine the base down south somewhat. DnS got a Zealot in that mineral line too. Anyways, once again, here we go. He decides to jump all of the Battlecruisers right here on top of the leftover Protoss units. Yamato cannons are going off, and Terran just seems to have a little bit too much stuff at this stage in the game, despite the fact that Spirit decided to jump straight on top of all of that static defense right there from DnS. At this point, I think there might just be a little bit too much for our Polish Terran. GG is called, and he does indeed obtain the victory.